All right, guys. Today we're gonna be reacting to When Does Life Begin? Let's jump in.
All humans ought to be equal. Does that apply to unborn ones too? Okay.
Good question.
Treading into dangerous territory here, but why not?
You can
Okay,
choose
we'll
your
go.
left or your right uterus.
When are they considered human though? When is the unborn child considered human?
Conception.
This is a good question. We would say at conception.
Who would?
Well, Christians would,
Well, yeah. I mean, Christians. I mean, okay.
because it meets
I don't do the
because it
religion
meets the
thing.
criteria for biological life.
Okay.
So
So is
That's-
that,
that's
do
your
you
belief, so.
consider that answer to be subjective then?
no, I don't
What?
think it's subjective. I think that we would always err on the side of life. So I mean, always. So I think it's a subjective metric from the other side. I think the other side's it says, well, we don't know. So we just whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
Did you get to respond to the message or?
Oh, God.
Okay, all right.
No, it's okay. I believe when happens. So
Okay, all right. Well,
I got it. I believe it's when it's brain function. When their brain begins to function, that's when human life begins. And then I think that's when it's wrong, which is quite early on, actually.
Does
Can I
this
ask
mean that
what
if
you're
somebody's
basing
in a coma, or they have some kind of like detriment to their brain function, that it's okay to take them out, or
Well, no, because if they're in a coma, their brain does not function.
what if
Stop.
they're brain dead, but maybe it could be rebooted at some point with technology? Is that
it
still
was-
a human?
It's,
And that's a
Sorry.
that's a hard question, isn't it? I just feel like I don't. Yeah, if they're brain dead, they're brain
From the
dead.
nursing perspective, if
Oh,
they
yeah.
have brain activity, they are brain dead, so we can't. They're not gonna pull the plug on them. But if they have organs that shutting down, and them without the machine would cause them to die, then yes.
Yeah, I get it. So then, what sort of brain activity would be a requirement for it to be a baby?
that was going to be my next question. What was your opinion?
you had something
about
you wanted to?
Well, I was just gonna ask because you're saying when the brain starts to function, but what are you basing that off of? Is that your own personal opinion?
No,
or-
like there's like stages of the pregnancy and the brain and the heart start
But-
doing their stuff, and that's when I think that's a little baby, but it's literally it's.
But you said that's what you
Sorry.
think.
Pardon, sorry, what did you say?
I'm just trying to understand because you said that's when you think it's a baby and it's
Yes,
considered a
'cause-
human.
Unfortunately, we have to make that decision if we're not going to do life at conception. You have to decide when, and I would say then.
She's not right though. This lady right here, she's not right. How is it that you have all these stances that you haven't really think about these things? I mean, she's not right though. She's not right.
That it would be wrong to terminate.
When does the brain start functioning?
I cannot tell you off the top of my head, but
Right.
there is like stages, and they're like literal stages in the pregnancy, and it's quite early on.
Does it
But
need to be fully functioning? Like, what if the kid is going to be born with a really, really low IQ for the rest of their life?
just because they have a low IQ doesn't mean they don't have a brain.
Well, it does, and here's why. Because it could be that their brain function is different than a normal kid's brain function, right? So you're saying it's when we get brain function, I want to know what kind of brain function.
Well, when you read brain function on the ultrasound, I feel like that's the only way you're going to tell.
Just any kind
Any kind, yes, I'll go with any kind.
of brain function.
Yeah, any kind of brain function.
Okay.
What's that called when you put the buzzer in? Final answer.
Okay, great. So why is brain function the important thing?
Because it starts the heart to beat, doesn't it? It starts the
Yeah,
heart
I'm
to
not
beat.
telling you. Well, that's telling you, she's not right, man. She's just. And you know what's crazy? People like her tend to have these positions very established, without ever having any ounce of thinking. All of a sudden, they just get to this position where deleting people is okay. People inside a womb is okay. But never understand why. Why is that okay? Is that not having kids is very important for society. But at the same time, they like big government. Well, if you like big government, you need a lot of people. No. We cannot have more people because, climate change. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these positions that a lot of these folks don't have is just contradictory to a lot of their own positions.
Yeah, why is that the important delineation for
'Cause
when
that-
you consider it life? Because it's going to have brain function, right?
Yes, and a heart beating, so they work together to pump life.
Yeah, but
Around the
it's
body.
going. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's going to have brain function. So you are artificially stopping it from having brain function, right?
Yes, I am
Yeah.
artificially stopping it from having brain
Yeah.
function.
Why is that okay?
Because there are things called unplanned pregnancies. There are situations in which you do not want to have a child. There are conditions in which I'm not allowed to say on this podcast that you don't want to have a child. And I think you are more than entitled to terminate a life if you feel like you need to. And I feel like if
Just
you
not
can
at
say,
brain function.
And if you can say before brain function, it makes the woman that's doing it feel a lot less guilty. And I don't think we should make women feel guilty for
Got it.
terminating life.
So let's say brain function starts at 3 weeks. Let's
But
just say it start. Let's just say it did. It starts at 3
But
weeks.
I'd like the exact time.
I'm gonna
and then
tell you why it's important. Just give me a second. Let's just say
She's
it started
uncomfortable.
At 3 weeks. We'll just
She's uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable because this is the real deal. This type of conversation, if you put them right where it matters, it made them feel uncomfortable because it's an uncomfortable position. It's very uncomfortable.
Let's assume it for a second, okay? And this was an SA victim. Didn't find out until week 6, right? Could the SA victim terminate then?
Well, I think. Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think every
Well,
situation.
I don't know, because you just got done telling me that if the brain's functioning,
If the brain's
then
functioning, it's a human, but at every situation you have to take it into account. It's a case-by-case basis. You can't just be like, as you love to generalize life and everything, you can't generalize.
I'm being
things like this.
hyper-specific.
Yes, I know, and I'm saying you have to take it case-by-case basis with
So
things
I
like
just gave you
this.
the case. Here's the case. The case is
And
the
she's
brain's
more-
function.
and
You
if
didn't
she
know you were
doesn't-
pregnant, and it was
and
from
if
an
she
SA. Can you
doesn't want
eliminate
to
the
have
pregnancy?
that baby, then she doesn't have to have that baby.
Well, then the brain function, what you've just said is it's a human being when there's brain function, and to determine it would be murder at that point, and you just advocated it's okay to murder a kid.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I think that's more than fair.
Man, that's nihilistic. That's crazy, bro. That is crazy. In front of a camera.
If,
Oh.
I have one question on this. So your position is a woman should have the right to be able to. you
I'm
know-
pro-choice, yes.
Yeah. Question for you, kind of, sort of related to that. Let's say a man doesn't want to be, for the exact same, some of the exact same reasons that you listed out. Say he's not financially ready, he doesn't want to be a father yet, he's not in a place in his life, whatever the reason may be. But primarily, he's not financially ready, and he just isn't maybe emotionally ready to be a father. And I think you cited those as some reasons why women could or would have an abortion. What I kind of
understand
I
the
preempted
question.
myself here.
I understand the
What so
question.
but so a guy gets a woman pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say she wants to keep the kid, but he has all those financial and emotional concerns. What would you say to him if you had a male friend who got a woman pregnant under those circumstances? What would you say to him?
So you can't obviously force someone to have an abortion.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I think there should be like, there should be a discussion that's had with him and said partner, because if he's not financially ready to support, she then can't. And she wants to have the baby, and he's like, I don't want to. If she has the right to terminate and not keep, he should have the right to be like, actually, I'm not ready for a baby. I don't think I can do this yet. I don't want to be involved. And that's all he can do, because he
But-
can't force her to have a baby.
Sure, but you do acknowledge that while the state, I don't know, I believe abortion is just wholly available in the UK, correct? So the state would, despite her saying, well, I understand, but I'm going to keep the kid, and he doesn't want to be financially involved, the state would then force him into fatherhood and would force him to, at minimum, pay child support to
Yeah.
the woman. Well, actually, I'm not familiar with child support laws specifically in the UK, but I'm assuming it's fairly similar
Yeah,
to
no,
the US,
I would-
where you would be compelled to pay child support,
Yeah, I
despite
haven't been
your
in
lack
that.
of.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, what do you say to a man in that position? So, do you say that?
I wish I could.
But
I wish there
what would you
was
tell him? Would you tell him, well, tough, you should have thought of that before having sex?
Probably as a joke, yes, but not seriously. But I would, I'd love there to. Oh, I wouldn't love for there to be a law involved, but I think if a man doesn't want to have involvement, that is sad. But there should be.
Why is it? But it's sad for.
It's sad for the child, eventually, because that child's dad didn't want them. that's always going to be sad.
Would you make that same argument for a woman who gets
I was about to say the same thing. Can you make the same argument? It's sad for the child if the mom decided, to press delete.
an abortion?
Yeah,
There
it's
you go.
sad.
Okay, all right, that's fair
And
enough.
it's also,
but,
women go through a lot of pain when they do that. It's a not
but
wanting
you said there should be a law where men can.
almost like waiver the right to pay child support if they don't
Okay,
want to
that's
be
fair.
involved. I think
I mean,
that's
my
actually-
personal position on this, in any state where abortion is legal, I think men should have a corresponding right to.
I agree. I completely agree
It's
with
called
you.
legal paternal surrender, where they basically relinquish any sort of paternal rights, parental rights, and by extension, they don't have to
Yeah.
be obligated to pay child support.
But can they then get back involved? So say in like 10 years' time, they're like, fuck, I actually really
Well, I
want to know
suppose
my
they can
son.
negotiate
Sorry.
anything. They can negotiate anything with the
Yeah.
mother. But if, I'm not sure on the specifics of reconciliation.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think
Okay, all right, that's
they
fair.
should be allowed.
You know what? I actually think. I think people who are pro-life, actually, you might actually convince some men to join your cause if you were to say, well, we're going to push through legal paternal surrender as part of like some, cooperative
I feel like there
front
should be.
for pro-choicers.
I feel like there should be something like that in place. I don't think it's fair. Like, it's not, fair is probably not the right word, but I don't think it should all lay on the mother's shoulders, actually, because it is like a big burden to take on a whole person. It's a person, like, that's 18 years of parental responsibility, like, from day dot. And then, like, I'm 25, I still borrow money off my mum, so I'm still a massive financial burden.
Yeah, what a that statement at the end was not pretty at all. But she's laughing about it. She thinks it's a joke, huh? She really thinks it's a joke, folks. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one.